Folks, I think we're live on YouTube, but let me know, as usual, on chat if the AV is clear. If you can hear me, see me all right, and then we'll get started with the session. Okay, I can see myself live on YouTube, but still I'll have to do an AV check with you folks, especially an audio check. Let me know if everything's okay. AV is perfect. Thank you. My team has confirmed. Great. We can get started. Professor Nair will join us in a minute. I think he's probably switching on his video right now.
Yeah, I'm on.
Yeah, great. Awesome. All right, folks. Fantastic. Thank you, Shirag. Thank you for confirming. Folks, let's get started. I don't want to delay this. I'm sure there's a lot of curiosity around this session, given the fact that the PI season is about to start or has already started, right? A lot of you, especially the folks at 2M, you started your training on Monday. A lot of folks from other institutes who are joining in, I'm sure you've already started your training or you're going to start your training very soon. So this is, of course, when it's a very, very important phase of your MBA admissions. I don't need to tell you that. And I keep telling my students that contrary to popular, or rather not popular, but contrary to a common misconception that, you need to really prepare for CAT and XAT, but PI can happen sort of in a default automated way. If you have that misconception in your head, remove that, because this stage also requires a lot of preparation, right? Especially because you folks are in your early stage of your career. You haven't faced a lot of personal interviews. So definitely you need guidance and handholding and mock interviews at this stage to face the panels and to create a positive impression on them, right? So I just wanted to clarify that upfront. So definitely prepare for it. Don't ignore it. Okay. This session obviously is about acing personal interviews, and it's very interesting because we're gonna hear it from a panelist perspective. All right. So we have Dr. Raj Nair from Nair with us. If you a channel, he's a very regular. He comes on a channel very regularly, and every time he comes, the session is received very well. So I'm very, very happy to be in conversation with him once again. Dr. Raj Nair has been on a B School interview panels for many, many years, right? So he's conducted hundreds of decades, right? Exactly. Yeah. So he's been on the interview panel for decades. He's conducted probably hundreds of interviews, met hundreds of candidates. So he's going to share his perspective, right? Like, as a panelist, what kind of parameters does he look for? How to handle specific questions, let's say why MBA, or tell me something about yourself, do's and don'ts, all of that, right? Yeah. So you're going to hear it straight from a panelist. So it promises to be a very interesting session. So do stay tuned till the end. It's going to last for about an hour, and we will have ample time for Q&A at the end as well. Okay. All right. Perfect. So on that note, I'm just going to give you a bit of an idea about Dr. Nair's profile. He is a senior professor for information technology management at Welingkar, and this session is being conducted in collaboration with Weschool or Welingkar. He's also the program head there. He has about 17 years of teaching experience, under various IT programs. Like, he specializes in e-business, business analysis, enterprise applications, and also MIS. He's an MBA. He has an MBA. He's an alumnus from IIM Calcutta, and he's also done his PhD from Symbiosis International University. Okay, so very happy to have you, sir. Thank you for taking.
Thank you once again. Yeah.
It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
I know.
Great. Okay, folks, let's get started. So what I'll do is, I have a set of questions that are going to be a good representative of the questions that you have in mind, but I'll make sure to leave a lot of time for Q&A in the middle and at the end as well. So stay with us. We'll try to answer all your questions. Okay, perfect. Let's get started. So I'm going to start off on a bit of a generic note, but I think students are obviously very curious to know about this particular question. When you sit on the panel and you interview these candidates, I'm sure every B school has their own sort of assessment criteria.
Absolutely.
What are the major parameters that you evaluate on candidates in the interview?
So, like you said, Jatin, decades old, done hundreds and hundreds of interviews. It's not only for Welingkar, I've done it for many institutes as well, across the country, in multiple cities, right? Now, like you correctly said, every institute has its own parameters. But see, once you go inside the room, right, these parameters are at the back of your mind, but you tend to assess the candidate in a very, sometimes it becomes very biased as well, right?
Mm.
So some of the things, which we would definitely look for, which is common across all candidates, across all campuses would be, see, one is the ability to communicate,
Right.
the ability to articulate, that is extremely important. You cannot falter, you cannot hesitate, you cannot give twisted answers, beating around the bush. That is something which is a strict no-no.
Mm.
We do not like that. Okay. That is one thing. Second is we obviously, want to see students who are very keen, who are very positive, who are very energetic. Like I'm giving you why I'm saying this. I've seen examples. The students come suited, booted, but they have no energy at all. Like, they
Mm.
look so dull. Now, why that happens is because one night before they have not slept.
Right.
They tend to mug up a lot of things and then come and spew out in the interview. So that doesn't work like that. Okay. So we
Yeah.
want to look at candidates who are very fresh, who are very positive, who are very pleasant, who are very confident, and who are able to communicate. These are the first impressions.
Correct.
The student walks in. These are things that we observe first. Okay. And then I'll tell you more as you question me. I'll reveal a bit more secrets.
Definitely. I'm gonna try my best to get as many secrets out of you as possible. So that's
Yeah.
that's my job. Okay, great. So you mentioned communication skills. I think this, for starters, communication skills are very important, and their overall attitude. How positive they are, how enthusiastic they
Yes.
are.
Pleasant.
That's
Pleasant.
extremely
Yeah.
important. One question, sir, and I think I'm going to wear my verbal ability and reading comprehension hat. I teach that at 2 right? I'm a big English fan. So when you say communication skills, are you looking at students who speak perfect English? Is that what you're looking for, or is there something else around communication that you focus on?
Okay, there are two things, Jatin. Okay, see, one is we assess the written skills also.
Right.
Like what happens is students have to fill up the application form, and every institute will have this question like, what is your SOP? Statement of purpose.
Correct. Correct.
Where do you see yourself? Why you're doing this? All lot of questions. And this just as we have got a great friend called ChatGPT. You know, so and we can spot it immediately. We can spot it.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
I mean, it doesn't take a lot of time for us to understand what is human written and what is AI written.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. For sure.
That is one mistake students tend to do.
Hmm.
Okay, like ChatGPT will give you beautiful English, but you're not able to converse in the same way. Now
Right.
that creates a very negative kind of vibe.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Now again, that is one aspect, the written part. On the spoken part, see again, it depends on who's the panelist at the other end, right? See, for people like us who have studied in convent and missionary schools and all, when we were taught, Queen's English,
Yeah.
it becomes important for us, like I'll give you one or two examples. See, like typically I'm from Bangalore, right? Now the typical people here, they'll say I didn't had my breakfast. Okay. I'm just giving one example. To me,
Yeah.
that is wrong.
Yeah.
If in school I would have learned it as I didn't have my breakfast.
Correct. Correct.
See, now I get the idea what the student is trying to tell me. But when somebody says that, no, it creates a jarring note. Okay.
Correct. Correct.
So
Yeah.
one has to be very clear on the ground, the grammar part. Because again, like I said, it depends on who's sitting on the other side.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. It
Actually,
does.
there is nothing wrong in coming from a vernacular background. Okay. See,
Right.
none of us are Englishmen. None of my
Correct.
ancestors were British. But unfortunately, the language of business is in English, right?
Correct. Correct.
So that
Absolutely.
becomes an important point to watch out for.
Correct. Correct. So it does create, like, I mean, depending on the panelist, as you said, it can create a negative bias if your basics,
Yes, it can.
if your grammar basics are not
Yes.
in place.
And one more thing which is very jarring, which is very, very jarring is students tend to make that they'll say
The
two words and they'll take a pause. And that is something we should completely avoid.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Now that is where the articulation comes in, that clarity of thought, the way you're able to answer questions.
Right.
And so usually all the PIs are centered around the CV or the application form, right?
Yeah.
Because that is the contact between me and the candidate. I don't know anything about the candidate,
Yeah.
right? So mostly the questions will revolve around what is there in the CV.
Okay.
And then one question will lead to the answer next. One answer will lead to the next question. So that is how the whole flow actually works.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Awesome. So, sir, this leads me to the next question. So you've obviously emphasized on the SOP quite a bit, right? Saying that
Correct, yeah.
the interview is based on it quite a bit. Any tips for creating an SOP? I mean, I know that the one thing that you always say in these sessions is, don't copy paste from ChatGPT, and that's obviously
please
a
don't do that. Yeah.
very important thing to keep in mind. Any other tips that they should keep in mind, things that they should keep in mind while creating their SOP?
See, first of all, again, I repeat this. I mean, see, we see our own students. I've seen students in many other institutes. They join MBA looking at those great figures,
Yeah.
but they really don't know what they want in life. I mean, they're so disoriented, right?
Yeah.
Like, for example, a student of marketing doesn't want to do sales job. Okay. Now, you cannot be a marketing guy unless you've done sales.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
experience. You have to feel the pain of targets, and that will lead you and make you a very good marketer in the end.
Definitely.
Right? So people don't know. They say they all want a cushy job, sitting in an AC room, traveling around the world. So first of all, I mean, these are conceptions which have to be they have to be killed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I feel, see now, I'm sure all these candidates would have written their statement of purpose. It's already gone to all the colleges, but nevertheless, sometimes because of paucity of time, we don't get time to read through all those answers. So we might specifically ask, okay, why you want to do this? What is that? What is that pulls you towards this course? Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
That time you should be able to articulate. So maybe using ChatGPT is not a bad idea to the extent that you can take some pointers, and then you should
Right.
build up on that. And also you
Right.
should have some clarity of thought as to why I want to do it. Okay.
Definitely. Definitely.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, so you cannot sound like a mercenary, I want to do MBA because MBA will give me 50, 70 lakh salary and all that.
Correct. Correct. Yes.
Nobody wants to hear that answer also,
Correct.
which is the truth.
Absolutely. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
We all want that. But the point is, I don't want to sound as a mercenary. So I have to
Absolutely.
take a kind of a middle path. So
Yeah.
this is something which you have to spend a lot of time, reflect, look inwards, and
Yeah.
then you find out an answer. And again, it should not be parrot talking. Okay, like so I've seen examples, where students will buy out 5 lines and come, and there won't be any change. Okay, and we have done this. Like I will ask once, so you can make out it's parrot talking. Then we get into the interview. After some time, my co-panelist will again ask the same question, and you'll find there is not a change in a single word. Okay,
Right.
that is also not very good. Okay.
Right. Okay, interesting. Very interesting. So I think the mercenary bit that you mentioned, that I think that's very interesting. I also tell my students that when you're preparing, you have to be honest in an interview, but you also have to be strategic, right?
Yeah,
You
of
can't
course, of
just
course.
you can't. I mean, your
You
reason can
can't
be
be brutally
baseless.
honest. Okay, that is
Yeah.
danger. Okay,
Yeah,
that's a
exactly.
red flag.
Exactly. So I think that's important for keep in mind. And I think whatever sir is saying, right, is taking you back to the fact that you really have to prepare for these interviews,
Yes,
right?
you have.
Like,
It's not a joke.
awareness
It's not a
about
joke.
yourself. You'll have to sit time and introspect and come up with those answers. It's not going to
Okay.
come very
Okay,
quickly.
Jatin, you mentioned that, right? Tell me something about yourself. But I'll give you some
Yes.
interesting things which I have gone through. See,
Okay.
first of all, let's understand why we ask this question, right?
Correct.
See, we don't ask this question to everybody. See, sometimes, we panelists are also human beings, right?
Yeah.
And we have been in the field now for what, decades and decades. And the bachas who come there, like young chaps, maybe in their early 20s and all that. So we do understand that, they also come with a lot of tension, nervousness. So the whole idea of tell me about yourself is to calm you down, okay? That is the way I look at it. Because see, nobody knows you better than yourself, right?
Correct.
So again, that is something which you should also do a bit of rehearsing. Now, I've seen examples, where students, if we ask them, okay, tell us something about yourself, I'll start. Oh, shall I tell about my father or my grandfather? See, I don't want to know about that. That is where your communication skills should come out.
Yeah.
Have a very pleasant expression on the face. If you're a bit nervous, that is perfectly fine. If you're not nervous, also it's okay. But just talk. We'll say, in 2 minutes, tell us about yourself. Okay.
Yeah.
If you want to be rude, you can tell. It's all on the CV. Why do you ask me? That also I've experienced. Okay, it's all
Yeah.
written there.
Oh,
But
is it?
again,
Okay.
we don't expect that.
Okay.
That shouldn't happen. But
Yeah.
should have a very clear cut answer. Let's do see, what should you talk about? Talk about your name. Okay, I am so and so. I come from this place. Then what have you done in your graduation?
Right.
And something which is very interesting here is we want about what are your extracurriculars, beyond academics.
Yeah.
If you have done something in painting, if you're a singer, if you're a dancer, whatever, anything outside academics, that is most welcome.
Right.
That creates a very good impression. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think those are great tips. Awesome, folks. So you can keep putting your questions in chat. As I've promised, we will try to answer as many questions as possible, and I'll go in chronological order, so don't worry. I'll come to Q&A in a bit, okay? Awesome. So, sir, one pain point that students have, and I see this every year when I'm preparing them for mock interviews, is academics, right?
Yeah.
So first of all, my question to you is, as a panelist, why is there so much stress on past academics, even with WorkX candidates? Sometimes they ask questions. Yeah.
See, I mean, it may look a bit irrational or illogical to begin with, because see, you have done your engineering under pressure.
Right.
In the sense that somebody pressurized you from the family, nothing wrong. I mean, these days, there's a lot of competition that happens. Sometimes you don't want to do engineering, but your parents will force you into it.
Yeah.
After 1 year, you realize this is not what I want to do. And somehow you drag your feet, and at the end, you come out. And you don't want to work in the field at all. Okay.
Right.
That is also perfectly fine, right? So now what happens is, see, now wait, what was the question? I'm sorry, I just lost
No,
my.
so my question was around academics. Why is there so much
Yeah,
stress
okay, yeah.
on
Oh,
that?
sorry,
Was my
sorry.
first
Okay, yeah,
question.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what happens is because you're forced and pressurized into taking this up, you don't show any interest towards academics. Okay, it
Right.
becomes a kind of a torture for you. What we call as a penalty punishment posting or something like that, right?
Right. Right.
But for us as panelists, what happens is, see, I want to assess whether you are a good learner. Okay, because see, I mean, studying MBA is not a joke. It's going to be very hectic. It's going to be like a pressure cooker. Okay, there'll be a lot of assignments, a lot of case studies, a lot of work will be there. Now, if you demonstrate across the table that you are a person who has no interest in academics, right? So how do I find that? I'll ask you some basic questions on what you have done in your graduation, right? Now, let's say you're a BCom student, right? You're expected to know the basics. At least you should know what is the balance sheet. Or you say, I have worked as an intern in a taxation firm, or I have work experience in a taxation firm. And then I'll ask, tell me, what is the latest slab rates? Okay. I don't know what you're talking about, right?
Right.
See, these are things which kind of ring the alarm bells that this is not a good candidate for further education, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Now, again, a lot again depends on your luck. See, now you'll have max to max 3 panelists across the table. Okay. In the early days, we used to have 5, 6.
Right.
But now, because of cost cutting or whatever, it's come down to 2 or max 3.
Right.
Okay. And it may so happen if you're lucky, right? The person on the other side may not be from your field at all.
Yeah.
Let's say you are a dentist, okay? And I'm from a different background. I know nothing about dentistry. All I know is that dentists drill holes right in the teeth.
Right.
So I won't have much to ask on what you have studied, right? So that depends on a lot of luck. But if your luck is bad, your graduation and my graduation will match. Right. And that is a problem, okay? Because I will tend to ask.
Yeah.
And there is a concern, which we are finding, and which is not a kind of wrong also, because we are finding more and more cases, where students' basics are not at all strong. See, when we were students, years back, decades back, the lot of thrust was given on getting the fundamentals right.
Definitely.
See, I come from the age where I've seen the full transition from manual to computers.
Right.
But it's like I always give this example. If I don't know how to add, a calculator will be of no value to me, right? So because of maybe or too much of software or whatever, many of the basics are not known to the students, right?
Correct.
So that is a big problem. So, like I said again, this is the reason why we want to give stress on the past academics, because it serves as a pointer to your future ability to study.
Definitely. Right? And I think
so keep that point in mind.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, sir, as the panel mostly consists of professors. So
not always. No, that is not right.
Oh, that's not true. Okay.
No, that is not true. I'll tell you what happens. See,
right.
Like in Welingkar, if I take Wellingkar's example, we usually have a panel of 2 members. Again, usually, sometimes the numbers can change. So it could be a mix of faculty, internal faculty, visiting faculty, and corporate. Okay. Right. So again, when we talk of corporate, we're talking of people with 20, 25, 30 years of experience, very, very senior people.
Veterans, industry veterans, right?
We really don't know what is the composition of the panels. Okay. And those panels are all made at the last minute. It's not like you decide in advance, panel 1 mein kaun hoga, 2 mein kaun hoga, and all that. Okay. And then sometimes in between some panelists has to leave. Then we again realign the panelist. Okay. So there is no fixed formula for that one.
So it's very dynamic. Okay.
It's very dynamic. It's just like, on the fly, we create the panels. Right.
But I think even irrespective of the panel composition, I think, there are chances you would meet professors, and professors would definitely be interested in your academics and
yeah. It is very, we take it very seriously also. We take it very seriously.
Yeah.
Because I know
you focus on. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. I know you don't want to want to continue with your engineering career, right?
Right.
So you want to take up management, but you have to convince me that given a chance, you'll be able to pick up and move forward. You'll not be left behind. That is the whole purpose. Yeah.
Correct.
Sorry, go on, Jatin.
Absolutely. And I think one important thing, just highlighting that sir said, was the focus on basics. Right. So make sure, you don't want to be in a situation where they ask you a very basic question of your undergraduate stream and you're not able to answer that. That will never leave a good impression. Right. So revising basics, revising academics is.
Jatin, I'll give an example. Okay. Say BCom student, right? They should be masters of balance sheet and all these things, right?
Definitely.
Assets, liability, and all that. So in one of the interviews, my co-panelist was from a BCom background. He asked some simple question. Tell me, okay, you're talking about BCom, and then one question they'll ask you. typically, okay, which area of commerce do you like the most? He said balance sheet. Okay, great. But tell us, goodwill, goodwill, where do you put it?
Right.
Asset side or liability side? He was not able to answer. He put that on liability side. And that is where it tanked the whole interview.
Yeah. And as a BCom student from like 20 plus years ago, I remember this question.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, these are basics,
Yeah, definitely.
You can't be excused for that.
Yeah,
like it's like I'm a doctor. I don't know how to check the heartbeat. Okay, that is not done. Okay?
Right.
That is not acceptable at all.
Correct. No, absolutely. This is completely understandable. Okay, awesome. So folks who are just joining in, we will definitely handle all your questions. Okay, I promised you that. Just hold on. I have a set of questions that I'll finish and then I'll come to Q&A. Stay till the end. We'll have most of the Q&A till the end. So definitely hold on for that. I have one more question for you, sir, before we go into the next stage of the session. The second pain point that students have is current affairs. Right.
Okay.
So that's also something which is very vast. A lot of students don't have that habit of reading newspapers and watching the news. And then there are questions about current affairs. So what are your tips on for students to handle this section of the interview?
So just on a lighter note, maybe they know better about affairs and current affairs, right? On a lighter note, right? Yeah. Right. See, guys, there is a reason why this current affairs, sometimes the questions are asked. Now, again, I talked about learner, right? Now, if you're reading, you will know what is happening in the world around you. Yeah. See, nobody asks you to remember what happened 10 days back or 20 days back. At least, what happened yesterday. If you just take a little time off, just scan into your phone, just take or download one of those news apps. Just go through the headlines there. You will get to know what is happening in the world around you, right? Right. Now, if you say, okay, I want to take finance as a specialization, you don't even know what is the stock market. You don't know what is the Sensex. Again, we have a problem, right?
Yes.
How do you say, I'm great. I love stock trading. Okay, great. Tell me what happened to the Sensex. So where is it right now? He'll tell. I think it is at 20,000. Okay, all the experience I've seen.
Right.
So then that guy is bluffing, right?
Correct.
So that is why this current affairs are very important. That is also an indicator that you are a person who keeps track of what is happening and you are very serious about a career in management.
Definitely.
You can see, in today's world, the way things are moving, things are moving really fast.
Yeah.
It's very dynamic now. So in the engineering world, what used to happen was the basic concepts have not changed. But in management ethics, things keep changing at a very fast pace, right? So you have to be very aware of what is happening around you, right? So that is why it is very important for us.
Okay.
So that is why current affairs, again, there's no guarantee it will be ours. There's no guarantee it won't be ours. It again depends on the person on the other side.
Definitely. But they have to be prepared because the interviews can go in any direction, but they'll have to be prepared for all the sections, right? Yeah. And I think sir spoke about finance. One obvious tip that I'm sure is the budget, right? Upcoming budget, your interviews after budget, definitely expect questions around the...
Yeah. And usually it will be around, okay, tell us what is the GDP of India, for example. A very simple question. Or what are the major changes that have happened on the income tax slab rates and all that? So, so those kind of, nobody will ask you, probably they won't ask you, what is happening on the agriculture front. Maybe, okay, unless you want to take up a course in rural management or something.
Correct.
Generally, maybe dairy product, something it may not really be on, but something that is more broad-based. That is something we should be aware of. So one good thing is the day after budget, every newspaper comes out with a lovely summary.
Yes.
Maybe you can just take a look at the summary. I think that by itself should be a strong point. Nobody's asking you to memorize it. I don't think our FM can also do that, right?
Right. And this generation also, sir, has an advantage. They have apps. They have a number of apps that can help them brush up their information. Right.
I really wish we could do that when we
exactly. Yeah. I mean, back in the day, it was just the newspaper and there was no other source. Okay. There was no other source at all. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Awesome. All right, people. So we'll move to the next stage of this session. This session, as I mentioned, is brought to you by, is in partnership with Welingkar. Very interestingly, we have two students from Welingkar who are going to join the panel for about 7 to 10 minutes. They're going to talk about their experiences at Welingkar, their personal interview experiences. I think as students, it's always great to hear from people who've been in the same boat 1 or 2 years ago, cleared those hurdles, and now are doing very well in their MBA courses. So we're going to talk to them for a few minutes. They'll come online anytime. And then I'll go back to Professor Nair.
Sure.
We'll answer your questions. I also want to ask him, like we've discussed, tell me something about yourself. I do want to get his thoughts on why MBA, which is also a very critical question, right? Stress interviews. Those are the things we'll discuss in the third phase once we're done chatting with the students. All right.
Yes.
All right. So Tushar and Gauri, if you can just switch on your camera, we'd love to meet you. Hi, Gauri. Thanks for joining in.
Hello, sir. Hi.
Awesome. Tushar, if you can switch on your camera as well.
Yes, so I'm getting an error. I'm unable to start the video. It says the host has stopped it. So
Okay, let me just see if I can do that for you. Okay. Right, just try now. Yes, I think it will work now. Great, awesome. Yeah, I stopped your video initially. Sorry about that. Awesome. Okay, great. So folks, as I said, these are two very bright students from Welingkar. They're currently pursuing their PGDM programs at Welingkar. I'll give you an idea about their profile. I'm very interested to know, their experiences at Welingkar and potentially also share their PI tips and experiences that they had when they interviewed, right? So we have Gauri Patil with us. Okay, Gauri is pursuing her PGDM core marketing course at Welingkar, and she's currently in the second year. And she's already secured a pre-placement offer at Accenture as a senior business analyst. Okay, which is amazing. Accenture is a very, very good company. Gauri, many congratulations for your PPO.
Thank you, sir.
Awesome. And then, of course, we have Tushar, who's pursuing his PGDM core program at Welingkar. He's currently in his first year. Tushar is a BTech in industrial and production engineering and has 2.5 years experience at KPMG. Okay, awesome. Welcome, Tushar.
yes, thank you.
All right, perfect. So Gauri, I'll start with you. So again, you're a second year student, right? So you've been at Welingkar for like what now, 15 plus months or almost 20 months? You must be at the end of your program, right?
Close to 20 months. Yes.
Correct, 20 months. How was your experience been? Like, share some highlights from your journey at Welingkar.
So my journey at Welingkar, I will say it's a 360-degree change in my personality and my overall, I became a more confident person after coming to Welingkar. Before coming to Welingkar, I hold an experience of 3 years at Infosys.
Right.
But my understanding is like one should not only have a technological knowledge, but one should have a managerial skills also, just to become the whole package. So that's why I came across a Welingkar, and Welingkar offers you many things. Like you will have first 1 month of your joining, you will have 1 month of induction program.
Right.
And that starts from your CV building sessions. You will have different company CEO, the leaders will come on the board and guest speakers, and it's completely a 1 month grooming session for you. So starts from like how you should talk, how should dress, how should you sit, how should you network with other people. So starts from the basic, the Welingkar will groom you, and you will be the complete different person, like in and out after 1 month.
Great.
And we do have in Welingkar, we do have different events. We have international and national level conference. We have Smart India hackathons. We have a V-Base, which is a national level festival. We have sports events like Run Bhumi and Impact. So throughout the year, balancing your academics, you have different co-curricular activities you will be part of.
Right.
So you'll be on your feet, on your toes whole day.
That's amazing. That's good. Busy. I always say busy is a blessing, right? It's a good thing. It's a good thing. Your hands are full, so that's a good thing. So one thing, I'm looking at your profile, and you mentioned that as well. You have a 3-year work experience in Infosys, right, as a senior system engineer. There are a lot of engineers who are now wanting to make the same move as you. You moved from engineering to doing a PGDM in marketing. Did that question come up? I'm just curious in your interviews that, why are you shifting away from engineering?
Yes, sir. It did come. My interview started. It's a basic question, as Jay sir mentioned, that they make me comfortable, like introduce yourself, tell me about yourself, and after that they have my CV. And they was like, you hold a work experience too close to 3 years, then why you want to, come to Welingkar and do your MBA?
Yeah.
So my answer was the same, which I mentioned earlier, that I have worked on the technical skills. I was a front-end and back-end developer, but I think my interest lies towards some management. So that's the one reason I want to. And in that also, they asked me like, why marketing only? So in that time, I was a little bit confused about operations and marketing, but the interviewer was very sweet, and he only made me comfortable and clear a few things.
Oh,
But
that's good.
what I realized is he was just testing my knowledge, and he was confusing me initially, but at the end, it got sorted out.
Oh, that's good. Good to know that. Thank you for sharing that. So Tushar, same question for you. You're in a different situation. You're in your first year and you're doing your PGDM core program. How has your experience been so far? Like, I mean, the first sort of 7-8 months that you've spent at Welingkar, what have been the highlights for you? How hectic has it been for you? Also, answer that question as well.
So yes, eventually, MBA or PGDM is hectic all in all. No matter what college you join, it's about how you balance your. It's basically the work-life balance, what you call in corporates.
Yeah.
So all in all, my experience has been pretty good. The journey here begins from day one, starting with NEEF. It is a basic foundation program, and it was at that moment when I realized that this is not just an ordinary academic journey. So every minute you invest here will reap benefits if you take the initiative. And at Welingkar, you're constantly unlearning and relearning new things. So the campus life, the discussions and experiences here are unlike anything. I mean, I've experienced it before, but getting back into the academic journey after working for 2.5 years, coming to that, it was initially a bit tough for me, but it was made sure it was a very smooth process for me. So, I had the chance to work on live projects ranging from the supply chain to consumer behavior. You name it, and you have all the projects right here. So
Nice.
it's not just like Jairaj sir mentioned, it is not just like if you stick to one domain, like I had my domain in supply chain. So it was not that I was just focused into supply chain. I, widened my horizons into marketing and finance as well. So you get a lot of opportunities here to build your profile before getting an internship or and PPO. So for me, I was pretty, I mean, not lucky, but I had built my resume or profile in such a way that I cracked my internship in the first month of my academic journey. So,
Very nice.
yep. So all I would like to say is the way you build your profile. So in Welingkar interviews also, this was a plus point which I had. My entrance score was pretty low, 83.8. So don't lose the hope. It is not a very bad score. If you have scored less in your entrance exams, you have GDPI in hand, you have interview in hand. So there are percentages allotted for each step you go through. So make sure you build your profile in such a way. It's all about selling yourself.
Correct.
It is you who built your resume. You know what you have to sell yourself in front of the interviewer. Make sure you highlight your key points, how you being a team player, you can contribute to the academic journey. So and why did I choose Welingkar was because Welingkar teaches you to look beyond classroom. It is not just about academics all the way. There are projects, there are tie-ups with industries wherein you go to them, you solve their pain points, and it is not just about academics or grade. It is what you apply, what you learn, and how well you apply that concept. So
Right.
whether it is through case studies or competitions or industry interactions, Welingkar equips you with those skills in the matter of real world. So all I say is, when I went through the GDPI process, I focused on showcasing 3 of my plus points, which is the problem-solving mindsets. Because in corporates and the interview which I faced was basically they give you a case study or a case situation in which you have to apply your learning, whatsoever that might be. And the second would be the most important, the communication skills.
Right.
So this helps you stand out during the GD and interviews. So
Yep.
the way you talk, the way you represent yourself, because you're going to talk to the top management, or you've got potential clients you got to interact with. So communication is a key. And even though you're not up to the mark when it comes to presenting, Welingkar makes sure that you have loads of presentations on a daily basis, which make sure that your public speaking fear or the stammering problem or whatever you might have while presenting, that comes out to be very okay. The staff is very smooth. You can walk into their cabin. It is a guru space. So there are no closed gates. Everyone is able to access everyone here. So that is one good thing about Welingkar. Not just one faculty. You can visit anyone at any time, and they'll help you no matter what.
So an open door policy, which is fantastic. Which is fantastic. Yes. Great. So practical exposure and hands-on learning is what attracted you towards Welingkar. Gauri, yes. What about you? What kind of? I'm sure you had other choices as well, right? Other B schools. Why did you pick Welingkar over those schools?
So just now that 2IIM is taking a video, I have also seen many reviews. I also heard my seniors and the way they share their experience and also the placement. So in Welingkar, you will we have like internship and the placement season started. So it's like from this date, you will have the companies will come on board. So seeing the records, seeing the packages, that attracts me most because I was already doing the job. So was more interesting towards the companies which comes to campus.
Definitely.
And yeah. Definitely. So similarly, I also heard 2 to 3 talks from my seniors, the what they shared. That was the major thing. And one point is I wanted to come out of my place. So
Right.
Mumbai and Pune, these two things I was just targeting. Yes.
Okay. Are you from Mumbai?
No, sir. I'm from Jargaon. It's in near
Oh, sir.
Nashik.
So you wanted to move to Mumbai.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
yes, sir.
Fantastic. And I mean, Mumbai is one of the best places to. It's a commercial hub, right? So why not do an MBA from
Yes.
that? That's always great. Awesome, awesome. This is amazing. Thank you so much. And I think Tushar, thank you for sharing your CAT percentile. I think it's really good to hear that. First of all, as you rightly said, 83 percentile is not a bad percentile.
Right.
This whole business of 99 kind of creates a wrong perception that 83, 84. I mean, look at what used to happen in the school days. Anything above 80 used to be considered very good, but because of this 99 business, we forget that these are also good percentiles, and Tushar cracked it, right? So I think the personal interview phase is definitely very important. It can go either way. You can have a 99 percentile, and if you don't prepare, you won't crack the B-School interview. You can have an 83 percentile, and if you ace the interview, you'll be, and there are innumerable examples like that. So folks, I think that's really good motivation for you. Tushar, thank you for sharing that. Folks, thank you for taking out the time. I know you folks are super busy, but thanks for taking out the time. It was lovely talking to you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Same here.
Hey, thank you, Gauri and Tushar.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Thank
Yes,
you,
sir.
sir.
It's a pleasure.
You represent us very well, okay?
Thank you.
But one more thing I want to add to what you guys said, okay, about the Welingkar, right? Even if you look at the infrastructure, the way the buildings are designed, both in Mumbai as well as Bangalore, it looks like a corporate office, We have had so many visitors. They come to the campus for the first time, expecting it to be like a typical, college with those broken chairs. But here we have a complete corporate kind of a setup here. It's beautiful, both the campuses, right? So that also
Campus and alums also, Weschool alums. If you see Weschool history and the alums, most of the alums are in the top leadership positions. They are out of India, Sweden, France, Germany, yeah.
USA and all that, yes.
Amazing.
Thanks a lot, guys. Okay, yeah.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Folks, I think this is a good time for me to remind you, Welingkar PGDM applications are still open. They will close very soon. They're going to close. They're closing on the 15th of Jan. The link has been shared on chat. Definitely, go through that link, and if you're interested, please submit your applications ASAP. Don't wait till the last date. And also the link also has details about the different PGDM programs that Welingkar has. So Welingkar is very unique in that sense. Apart from the core marketing, finance, operations programs, they also have some very interesting specializations, which are very much in tune with the requirements of, the era that we live in. Right?
I'll just interrupt here.
Yes,
Let me put it this way. See, we have close to 8 programs, PGDM programs. Okay. Now, every program, each of the programs are unique programs.
Yep.
See, PGDM is the core program, as we understand, the way the world understands. So there, of course, we have all the specializations. So that is a core PGDM. Apart from that, let me talk about the program which I am heading in the Bangalore campus. It is PGDM in e-business.
Correct.
But please remember that all the programs we run in Welingkar are management programs. Okay. Now, when I say e-business, what am I talking about? I'm talking about a tech-loaded management program. When I talk about research and business analytics, it is analytics-loaded management program. Okay. So each of these programs will have their own specialization. For example, in a PGDM e-business, we have a dose of technology, the right dose of technology. We also have the specializations. Okay. It is only one program, the business design and innovation, which does not have the specialization concept, because that's a very unique and a different kind of a course. So I would request you to please go to the website and do a bit of research on what we are trying to do in each of these programs. So they're very unique and pioneering programs in the country.
Definitely.
So, go ahead.
So folks, do go through that link that has been shared. The same link has the application form. The same link also has details about all these programs. And I think Sir mentioned one aspect that I remember in the last session is, don't just look at these programs and just because they're niche programs, don't sort of reject them or neglect them outright. As Sir said, go through the details. Some of them are very, very interesting, and they'll be better suited for your career path than the other core programs that they have. So definitely have a look at that. Right? Great. Awesome. Sir, I'll go back to our personal interview discussion. So I think you told us about, tell me something about yourself. Another very important question is why MBA, right? Yeah. And there are different struggles, like freshers struggle with this a lot. How do I explain my shift from engineering, or I have no idea about business and management? How do I answer that question? What tips do you have, especially for freshers, to handle this question?
See, first of all, let's please understand the person on the other side of the table also understands your pain point. Okay, right?
Right.
See, like for example, when Gauri spoke about her experience, right? Like she worked for 3 years, she had a clarity that the tech space is okay. I have kind of conquered the tech space, but I find myself in a more comfortable zone, and I'm on the managerial side. Because see, if you look at a company like Infosys, it is not only about technology, right? Because you need people to manage the technology as well. Okay, you need people to manage the projects as well, right? So she got the sense of it by actually working. But for freshers, this definitely is a problem. Like why you're shifting. But again, like I said, you can't sound like a mercenary. So have like make it sound like a natural progression. For example, if you come from a BCom background, so the ideal choice would be MBA. Or let's say if you have a very different kind of background, maybe a pharma background, or I've had a student who had a BDS, Bachelor of Dental Surgery. So a BDS student, so now why would you want to do an MBA, right? So for them, they can always say, that see, my ultimate goal was to maybe own a chain of hospitals, right? And just being a dentist or a doctor may not allow me to do that. I need to have that managerial skills, right? So probably one safe zone would be that looking forward or going ahead down the line sometime, I would want to become an entrepreneur, right? And so maybe, whatever I learn in my management journey, that could really help me in my entrepreneurial, to build up my entrepreneurial spirit, skills, network. So maybe you can talk on those lines, okay?
Okay.
So that might be a safe zone.
Right. Sounds good. And interestingly, so coincidentally, you mentioned the dentist example. There's one question in chat from Avinash. He's asked student. He's saying, what questions will the panel have for doctors in the personal interview? So he's a doctor. So
doctors are safe. Okay, let me tell you, you're safe. Okay,
right.
Because nobody will ask you balance sheet and all that. But again, see, you should have clarity of thought. Okay, like why you want to take up an MBA. Okay, like because it's quite unusual, right? Because if you have done an MBBS, maybe the next natural progression would be an MD or an MS or whatever, right? So maybe you should have a solid reason as to why you want to shift. Because see, you can always say that I want to be a part of the corporate life as a doctor. And today, if you look at all these great IT companies, so they all have healthcare verticals, right? Now, I'll give you some examples. Okay, company like Philips, Siemens, and GE, they've got a huge healthcare division. So what do? They create, tools and products for diagnosis, and that is where you need the expertise of doctors, right? So you can always talk. Would like to work as a business analyst in one of these companies, or I would like to start a company where again I would like to be a part of tool generation, right? So that's perfectly fine.
Perfect.
Do your homework well, okay? Do your homework well, and don't just give some era answers and all.
Right.
Do a bit of self introspection and then come out with an answer.
Definitely.
Which should sound convincing. Okay, that is also important.
Right. There you go, Avinash. So I think that's great advice for you. I'll take one more question, sir. This is also a common question that comes up. So again, focus on academics, right? So Srirag is asking, how bad is a 6 in undergraduation? He has a 69.6%. In his undergraduation.
Bad, okay. See, what happens, I'll tell you guys. I mean, let's be honest about this. As per the AICTE, your minimum graduation mark should be, 50% you should have in all class 10, 12 when you graduation, okay? But it stops there. When it comes to companies, they have their own cutoff. Like in certain companies, they have 60%. And 60 means 60. You cannot have even 0.0001% less. And therefore, there you cannot play around and say best of 5, best or nothing. They say on the total subjects, average percentage. So either you are in or you're out. It's as simple as that. In some companies I'm aware of, it could go up as high as 75%. Okay. In some companies, again, usually 60 to 65 is what they look at. So you are in safe zone. Okay. I mean, apparently it looks safe zone. As long as you're not below 60, it should be all right.
Okay. There you go, Srirag. You can rest easy. Don't.
Take it easy. Yeah.
All right. Niharika sir wants to know, again, there's a standard interview question which talks about what are your weaknesses or what is your biggest failure. She wants to know your take on this. Like, do you have any tips for her for handling this question? She's struggling with it.
See, first of all, not to have a weakness is not a weakness. Okay. Right. But again, see, these are all, nowadays, what I have realized is, these have become very rote, very mechanical kind of questions, Your strengths and weaknesses. If you say strengths, everyone will say leadership skills, time management. So it's become very, very stereotyped now, right?
Right.
But take it, since you asked, I will answer this to the best of my ability. Now, what can be some weaknesses, right? So you cannot say that I'm lazy, okay?
Right. Obviously.
You cannot say that, no?
Yeah.
Or I tend to procrastinate.
Right.
Maybe that sounds quite okay because we all of us have that tendency of putting things for the future, right?
Correct.
So think
Correct.
about one or two of those things which are mild, okay? I mean, they should
Yeah.
not be very harsh,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
They should not be very harsh. So one or two you can talk about that. But the problem will be, once you mention something, the next question will be based on that. What are you doing about it? Okay.
Correct. Correct. Yeah.
Right.
Definitely. Yeah.
Like, so there are a lot of people, they say that I cannot maintain time. The punctuality is a problem for me. So what are you doing about it? That is what I want to hear from you.
Correct. Correct. Yeah.
Having a weakness is not a weakness, but if you're not doing something about it,
Definitely.
that becomes a weakness.
I think that's a very important point. So when you're thinking of that, think of that follow-up question also.
Yeah, like the follow-up question will be, what are you doing about it?
Yeah,
That's
because
100% sure.
If you're sitting on your weakness and doing nothing, then
And doing nothing
obviously
about
that's
it,
not going to be. Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. Thank you. Thank you for sharing, sir. Another question that I'll take from Q&A. I'll come back to my questions. I definitely want to focus on your Q&A, folks. So keep putting your questions. Srivatsan wants to know, will mathematical questions be thrown at us randomly? And he says that he's not good at math, so he's worried about that.
See, the interview, ultimately the score is a composite score, okay?
Yeah.
Right. So again, see, if you have now chosen for an analytical program, okay, let's say, maybe like in Welingkar, you have chosen one of the programs as research in business analytics. And basic maths is very weak. Or if you boast a lot, I'm very good in mathematics, that tends to tempt the interviewer to get into a bit of difficult territory. Okay. Right. But usually, see, again, I said it depends, okay?
Yeah.
On the college to college, right? Or maybe if you suddenly say that I have a lot of interest in finance and something very simple is asked, you're not able to answer, that becomes a bit of an issue.
Correct.
Okay. But generally, they will not ask you to solve. I mean, again, generally, okay, I mean, I cannot guarantee that. They'll not give you a sheet of paper and say, okay, do one integration of sin theta by cos theta. All those things may not happen because there won't be time. So a lot of candidates have to be interviewed, and usually you won't get more than 15 to 20 minutes per candidate. Okay.
Correct. Okay. Awesome. Great, sir. One question that I'm curious about is, you've of course conducted hundreds of interviews, right? Is there any interview that has stayed with you because the candidate really impressed you and like sort of bowled you over?
Yeah, I'll share this with you. I mean, this is something that happened many years ago, maybe in 2012 or something. This happened in Delhi. I'd gone for a PI round there, and one candidate, she was a girl. I mean, it was a girl candidate. So she came with a walking stick, So she was, I think, 90% visually impaired. She just had 10% sight left in her, So I think one of her relatives, or maybe sister or somebody, just brought her to the door, and then she just asked us to wait, and she just walked inside. And then we, as the panelists, seeing her, we stood up to escort her. She said, "No, I can walk." She came and sat in front of us, and you won't believe this, Jatin. The 20 minutes that I spent with her, talking to her, it was really a revelation. It was a very humbling experience, See, we don't realize the blessings we have got.
Definitely.
Okay? Yeah. But for somebody like that, with just 10% vision, I mean, the kind of attitude she displayed, the kind of positive behavior, the kind of, answer she gave to the simple questions we asked, like she was bubbling with enthusiasm, bubbling with energy. Like, so what? I mean, I have 10% vision, that's fine. I mean, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
So that is something which has stayed with me for a very, and still continues to stay with me.
Right.
I can't forget that. Okay.
That's
the face is still clear. As I say this, the face is very clear to me now. And also after the interview, after we finished, we shook hands, and then she was able to about to get up. Then I called her relative. She said, "No, I can walk back."
Right.
So that was a great attitude. Fabulous.
Actually, it's very motivating to hear this.
Yeah, it's very motivating.
It's very motivating. Yeah.
And even one more I'll share with you. This was, again, one candidate from the underprivileged section of the society, whose father was probably working as an auto rickshaw driver or not.
Okay.
He made it to the top.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay. And then again, you don't realize your blessings,
Correct.
We have all studied in good schools. We have had very easy lives that way, But the kind of struggles that people go through, you really get to understand when you interact with them at that kind of level and all that.
Yeah.
So these two interviews are still very fresh in my mind.
That's great. Thank you for sharing. Very, very motivating. On the flip side, of course, I know you won't share names, but have there been any like funny experiences where
Oh.
candidates have given some very weird answers and you've been
Okay.
wondering?
Okay, I'll talk about two of them. Okay, very funny ones. So since I mentioned the dentist, okay, let me get to the dentist territory. Now, this guy was from Kanpur. Okay. So we had gone to Delhi to conduct the GAPI, and this guy had come. So then we were just talking. He was a very funny guy. Okay, we were just talking. So then he related one experience that he had in his college. The dental college, what he says is, in the final test, practical test, you have to actually extract a tooth. Okay. But the flip side is you have to get the patient. Okay.
Oh,
College will not provide a patient. You have to get a live patient and you have to extract the tooth in front of the invigilator, the examiner.
Crazy.
So about a week before this happens, people go to nearby villages and bribe people to come and get the tooth extracted. So then he was telling us, so he got hold of an old man. Okay. And then he said, I brought him by cab and everything was ready. And then my examiner said, okay, you start with your tools and all that. But he said, the moment I kind of poked, the tooth came up. And the examiner got very angry. He said, I didn't see you plucking it, no? So pull out one more tooth. So he actually did that. Okay. The way he said was really funny. That was one.
Hilarious. That is hilarious. Yeah.
That was hilarious.
Avinash, you're listening, right? You're listening. Avinash is the guy who asked you that doctor question. Yeah.
And there was one more, recently, about a couple of years back, this happened. One guy, we went through his CV. He says, what are his strengths? His strength is the ability to forget things. His ability to forget things. We said, wow, that's great. Yeah. And then we were talking to him. So he had done his BSc in physics. That is what was written in the application form. But while talking to him, he started talking about MSc. Then we said, wait, hang on. Have you done BSc or MSc? No, I have done MSc. But it's not showing on the CV. Oh, I forgot to mention. So he proved it. And then,
amazing.
Now, obviously, what happens is when you talk to persons, so we were talking something about hydraulics, something came into the picture.
Right.
So I asked him, okay, Pascal's, this is related to Pascal's law, right? He said, yes, of course. And I said, can you tell me what is Pascal's law? He looked at me and said, I don't know. That expression, no? And you won't believe this, Jatin. I mean, the interview went on, then he just went out. Completely lost face, okay? Doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
My co-pilots burst out laughing. And usually we shouldn't laugh, but, we couldn't control ourselves. And after some time, he tells me, we'll ask the candidate to wait back. When we have breaks in between, like between two candidates, sometimes we have 15, 20 minutes, we'll call that fellow to come and entertain us. So these two are very funny incidents.
Right. It's funny because, I mean, you've heard of people tanking weakness question. Here is a student who's tanked like the strength.
You have to explain how it is. And how can you say that ability to forget is your...
This is beyond. It's hilarious. Thank you for sharing that. Folks, don't do that. The funny ones, make sure you don't fall in that category. Okay, I'll take a question from Riaz. So he's saying, right. So Riaz is asking, now if I don't have WorkX, if I'm a fresher, should I assume that there would be a lot more questions on academics that I've done in my graduation?
Yes. Because see, you have to spend 15 minutes, right? So what do you ask on?
Correct. Yeah.
So that is obvious. So again, I'm telling you, the questions will be based on whatever you have given on the application and all that. And like it is natural, right? If I have to ask you, then I have only to ask you about academics. Unless you have something very different, something beyond that. Like for example, like other hobbies like painting, traveling, this, that. Those kind of things can be used as kind of diversions. Okay. But academics is something which you cannot tend to ignore.
Correct. So that you'll have to revise. And I think, Riaz, you've got an answer, right? As a fresher, you will have to really focus on academics. There's nothing else to talk about.
No escape.
Interesting. Okay, Abhinash has an interesting question. He's saying my CAT score is good, but my ZAT score is not so good. If that question comes up, how should I answer this?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter, right? Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
See what happens now. See, different colleges have their own cutoffs. They will take, maybe like in Welingkar, we accept 4 or 5 tests. 4, I think, yeah. In other colleges, they may accept 2 tests. So it doesn't. So if you have been called to the interview, CAT, ZAT doesn't matter anymore.
Right.
That means you have cleared that first level and move forward.
Right. Perfect. Awesome. Folks, remember, just a reminder, Welingkar applications are going to close very soon. PGDM applications are going to close on 15 Jan. The link has been shared with you on chat. So please, if you're considering applying, please submit your application as soon as possible. Don't wait till the last date. And also have a look at all the specialized programs that they have. Those details also you'll find on the link. Okay. All right. Couple of more questions. And folks, if you have more questions, we have about 5 more minutes. So feel free to put them in Q&A. But so one common concern is stress interviews, right? And I remember talking about this with you before, but for the sake of current students, how do they handle this? Yeah. How should they handle this?
See, again, to be very honest, personally, I don't like stress interviews. Okay? Because my job is not to stress somebody or I always do this, like when I realize that the person on the other side is very nervous, I try to calm that person down. Okay. And I tell them, see, I just want to have a chat with you. Just to see your fitness, your level of fitness with what we need. Okay. It's as simple as that. Right. So now I think that the times have changed now. See, earlier, 20 years back and all, this used to be very common. You keep bombarding with sometimes stupid questions, just to kind of unsettle the candidate and see how he reacts and all that, right? So I think by and large, I think now most colleges are insisting, that we should be respectful to the students as well, okay?
Yeah.
Right? But then again, it depends, on who's on the other side, right? So how do you handle stress interviews? I think one way would be, please maintain a calm demeanor, okay? Whatever happens, don't show that you're stressed out. I mean, if you kind of sense that the person on the other side is trying to unsettle you, you don't fall for the trap, okay? You try to maintain that calmness. That is something that is very important. If you can maintain your composure, right, then you'll see the person will not be able to go forward at all. See, I'll give you one example. Okay, it's not an interview, but just one experience from life. Many years back, from one of my earlier institutes, we wanted to conduct one seminar in Chennai. Okay, so we had all booked the hotel and all. But unfortunately, what happened was we landed today. Let's say tomorrow is the event. We land today, and we go to the hotel at 8 o'clock, and there is some marriage event going on.
Okay.
And there was a lot of things that needed to be done. And the director who was with me, he was furious. He called the manager and said, "What is this? You're paid so much, and nothing is ready."
Correct.
Then I mean, this guy was firing him, and that guy's face, he was so pleasant. He was so calm. He said, "Sir, don't worry, sir. I will take care of it. You come back tomorrow morning and you see the difference." And actually, it happened. Next day morning, when we went in at 7 o'clock, it was a complete different hall. The whole night, people worked there to ensure that we got exactly what we wanted.
Correct.
So that calmness, that composure is something that is extremely, extremely calming the other person also. Okay.
Okay.
And in a stress interview, what happens? See, basically, they'll ask you questions, you won't have the answer, right? And sometimes, some people do tend to be a bit gruff. They can make some loose comments, which we tend to avoid. Okay.
Yeah.
In Welingkar, we tend to avoid that.
Right.
But sometimes they may say, that what have you done with your life? You have wasted your life. Okay. Now, these are very insulting statements, right? So maybe, you can just put a smile on your face and you can say, it's a matter of perspective or something like that, right?
Right.
Or sometimes, people do get into arguments. Now, I have one point about that. So there are two principles which I have followed in my life. See, one is the best way to win an argument is by avoiding it. So don't get into arguments, If you find the other party is very rigid, you just say, okay, fine, I stand corrected. That's it, okay? And there the matter will end. Because if you keep on arguing, see, when you know that you are right and you know the other person, it can be possible, right? I don't know everything. I may be wrong. But if you try to tempt me, right? Again, if you try to poke me, then I'll get into a different territory.
Yeah.
So if you know you're right and the other person is wrong, maybe best is just keep quiet. That's okay, fine. I stand corrected. Show your humility there.
Great.
Okay.
Awesome.
That works. That really works. I've seen it working.
Yeah.
Okay. And the other principle which I follow is, see, a person who's convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. Okay. So please don't try to change the opinion or the knowledge of the panelist.
Correct.
Okay?
Yes.
So they are people, very senior people. They have their own set of egos and problems in life and all that. So please don't try to teach them anything on the spot. Okay.
Absolutely.
So remember that what they say is right.
Yeah.
And they just leave it at that. Okay.
Correct.
Keep these points in mind.
Fantastic advice. People, please keep this in mind. This is so important, right? I mean, you are not here to. What do you want? Do you want to win the seat or you want to win the argument? Decide.
Exactly. That's the point. Yeah, that is the point.
Either or. You don't want to win that argument. And there's a clear hierarchy there and very legitimate hierarchy. They have 20, 25, 30 years of experience and you're still at the early stage of your career. So humility is extremely important. Thank you so much.
It is okay. See, Jatin, students can be right. I mean, I will never say that students are wrong. Okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I've also been baffled. Like I say something and they correct me. Yeah. But maybe my ego level is down, so I can accept. But not everyone can do it.
Yeah.
Right? They take it very personally when you challenge them. Right?
Yeah. And as you rightly said in the beginning, sir, I think every panelist is different, right? So you don't know, you don't want to take those chances with the panelists by getting into an argument, right? So
Okay, Jatin, now one more point I want to mention here. Okay, see now, okay, this may not happen with this batch, but going forward, what I am getting a sense is that many colleges are thinking about adopting AI tools for the entire GDPI process.
Yes,
they want to take out the human bias completely. They want to take out the human bias completely, and they want to install these AI tools so that the belief is that AI can do a better job than a human. But my take I'll give you. Okay, see, AI, artificial intelligence is cannot be a substitute for natural stupidity.
Correct.
Okay, right? That cannot happen. So it won't happen right immediately, but down the line, maybe a decade or so later, this can happen. Yes.
Okay. Sounds good. Kapil, so do you have like 5 more minutes or do we have a hard stop?
Go ahead. I have a lot of time. Go ahead.
Okay, awesome. So there are some questions that I'll finish. So one is Riaz is asking, Welingkar interviews, are they going to be offline or online this season?
No, there is no online interviews.
Okay.
In COVID period, we did have online interviews, but that has been stopped since the last 2 years. So what's going to happen is, see, in the phase 1, again, see, changes do happen, but as of now, how it stands is, phase 1, we're going to have the GAPI, we call it the group activity and PI.
Right.
It's going to happen in Mumbai, Bangalore, Delhi, Indore, and Kolkata.
Okay.
The phase 2 is still not decided when and which cities and all that. Maybe all cities may not be covered. I can tell you what happened last year. Okay? Last year, phase 1 we had in Bangalore, Mumbai, Delhi, Kolkata, and Indore. Phase 2 we had in Bangalore, Mumbai, and Delhi.
Okay.
So Bangalore, Mumbai will happen because it is our campus. It will happen. But other cities, phase 2, it is still a bit of it's still being discussed right now.
Correct. Okay.
So there is no online interview. That's not going to happen.
Right. And Riaz, that will be true, I'm guessing, for most colleges now, right?
Yeah.
It will mostly be offline. So, do sort of be prepared to travel. There's going to be a lot of travel coming your way in the next 3-4 months, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'll take one question from Nikhileshwar, and I think it's sort of also related to, information management and information science. So he's saying that I come from information science engineering. How deep questions can I expect from the panelists? Like how would they get into ML, data structure, C++, and so on? No, right?
See, now, again, if the person on the other side is on the same background,
like if they meet you, they're
I'll start off, okay? But see, generally from a management perspective, for us, technology is nothing but it's a facilitator. So we look at technology from an application point of view. But just to give an example, see, I have a ceiling fan on my head. I don't care what capacitors or resistors you've used. I don't care. All I care is I switch it on, it should turn, and Hava should come down. Okay, as long as that is being done, my job is done. So that is how we look at technology. So for me, as a manager, I want to ensure that, or as a faculty, I want to ensure that the students who get enrolled into my program, they have a flair for technology. Like going forward, they'll be able to apply technology into their workspace. That is what we're interested in. So getting into the depths of AI, ML and all, that is not required.
Okay.
But that shouldn't happen. I mean, in any management interview, that shouldn't happen. Because, if you look at Infosys, for example, right? So they need 2 sets of people. One from e-schools, engineering schools. They get into coding, testing and all that. And second would be at the next level from B schools,
right,
where they take consultants, they take business analysts, and then project managers and those kind of roles.
Correct. Okay. Fair enough. Abhinash wants to know, he has, what if I have good academic scores in 10th and graduation, but 12th, there was a drop. Will that act as a positive or negative?
I was waiting for this to come.
Okay.
See, again, these are flags. Okay. Because when we go through your CVs, right, or your application forms, because you have to mention your percentage. If I see that in class 10, you scored 95%, and then in class 12, it dropped to 61%. Obviously, one question will come, what happened?
Yeah.
So be prepared for that. That is going to come. Okay.
Right.
So now the next question should be, what should I say?
Correct. Yeah.
Say the truth.
Panelist,
don't be brutally honest. Okay. Don't be brutally honest.
Right.
So some of the escape routes I was not well. There was some family emergency. Those kind of things, you can always say. And people normally don't tend to probe beyond that. If you say it's a family emergency, But if you say that suddenly I lost interest in studies and all that will not sound very good at that point.
That's a problem. That's a problem. Yeah.
That's a problem.
Packaging is very important. Be strategic.
Yeah. It's all about packaging.
Yeah. And that's coming from a panelist, folks. So just remember that, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have to be
Actually,
strategic.
I'm betraying my work.
No, but it's
Trade
true.
secrets.
It's
Trade
very helpful
secrets.
for students to know that, right? I mean, Rajesh, our founder keeps saying, he keeps saying interview is not a confessional, right? Don't go and blurt out.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the word. That is the best word. It's not a confession.
Important.
You can't be brutally honest. Yeah.
All right. Okay, great. Srivatsan has a question. He's saying, how do I structure my answers when asked about technical stuff? I either tend to speak too much or I'm too superficial. So how do I take care of
See,
it?
usually, again, most of the interviews will be lined around, let's say in the blockchain, how do you apply blockchain to some managerial situation, for example, right? So like it doesn't go into the depth unless the other person is a hardcore techie like him, and then it will get into that zone. So see, one advice again, very general advice for everybody. You should go to the interview with a completely open mind,
Right.
Any question can be asked from anywhere by anyone under the sun, beyond the sun also, okay? Anything can be asked. I mean, it could be anything.
Definitely, yeah.
From today's weather to why in China, why the NPV, why this is in China. See,
Right.
these questions are asked, why? To start a conversation, and second is to know whether you know what is happening in the world around.
Correct. Yeah. Okay, awesome.
That is important, yeah.
All right, folks, we'll take one more question. We've already over time, so we'll take one more question and then we'll wrap up the session. Anant is saying, if we find ourselves in a tricky situation, is nuanced honesty the best policy?
Very good one. Okay. See, again, to get into a tricky situation, which may happen,
Yeah,
you may get trapped. Like you'll say something now, and then you'll be forced to contradict yourself. Okay.
Right.
See, sometimes, it is not wrong to say no, I don't know. Okay. But if you say I don't know for all the questions, that also creates a problem.
Correct.
So something which again works, which I also tell a lot of students. See, sometimes you can say, yeah, the term sounds familiar, but I can't recall at this point. Okay.
Right.
So once you say that, no, that it stops there. It doesn't go beyond.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So you have an option. One is, I don't know. It's slightly negative. I know, but I can't recall at this point. It is safe zone. The next thing is you don't know anything about, and then you keep, BSing around it. That becomes a problem.
Right.
Please don't do that. Okay.
Yeah.
Unless you're absolutely confident of what you're talking, better not to get into dangerous territory.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. And folks, again, going back to what Sir mentioned in the beginning, the best way to tackle this is to prepare. The more you prepare, the less chances
of getting trapped. Yes.
Right. So definitely focus on that preparation. Don't be under that misconception that this is going to happen in a very automated way. It is not, right?
It is not structured. Any questions can be asked. There is no, like FAQ kind of stuff that can be made available, because every interview is different.
Correct.
Every interview is different.
Yeah, and this is.
I'll give an example. Okay, Jatin, just
please,
again,
please
I'm
do,
sorry.
please. No,
I
please
also
take your
being a
time.
prop,
I would love to sort of carry on with this conversation.
because being a prop, have the tendency to talk. See, this happened to one of my friends many years back. Finally he got into IIM Lucknow, but he was from the mechanical engineering background. Okay, so he was working in Delhi, and he got a call from IIMC, but he could not travel to C. So actually, C went to Delhi. The faculty team went to Delhi, and he had his. They were not doing GDs. GD is something they don't do. This was many years back. We're talking of the mid-90s and all.
Yeah.
So he went for the interview, and there were two people, and they were both faculty members, and they started grilling him on mechanical. So there was one aspect of mechanical is welding. On the welding, they grilled him left, right, and center, and then he tanked it. Fully tanked.
Right.
Later on, he got to know that neither of them were mechanical engineers.
Okay.
Neither of them were mechanical engineers.
Right.
They were both from a finance background, commerce background. But they had also done their homework very well. Okay. So they knew the profile of the candidate, and they did a bit of research on what kind of questions you can ask him. Yeah?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Like in many colleges, I can just share this small secret. In many colleges, they give a sheet of, some typical question which can be asked. For example, if I want to test the mathematical ability, I can't ask you to solve an equation then. So how do I give a slightly twisted? Some examples would be given to me, and maybe I can ask those questions.
Okay. Got it.
But again, I'll just thank Jatin for mentioning this in the beginning. There is no shortcut to avoid preparation. Okay.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
So if you have not had the habit of reading, this is the time. Do not go to the interview with a complete blank face. Read about what is happening in the world around you. Okay?
True. True.
Now, a small question. So, see, if you look at Sensex, it has been on a roller coaster last 2-3 days. The other day it went up 1,400 points.
Correct.
Then
Correct.
again, then it tanked 500 points. Then yesterday, the day before, it tanked 1,200. Yesterday went up 400 or 200 something. Today again, it's gone. An obvious question: why is it happening like that?
Yeah, definitely.
So there could be a lot of reasons. See, nobody knows why it is tanking. To be very honest, okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of factors are there. See, one thing could be that what is happening in China is affecting the sentiments. A lot of FPIs are pulling out of India. So if you can just mention 2 or 3 points, the other party knows that yes, you're a serious guy and at least you are serious about a career in management. You want to know what is happening around here.
Yeah, definitely.
Because
Folks, sorry.
You can't be a spectator. You cannot be a spectator. Okay?
Yes. Those
You
days
have
are
to be a
gone.
player.
Those days are gone. Yeah.
You can't remain silent. You have to know what is happening around
Correct.
here. You don't need silent managers.
Yeah. True. Very true. And I think that intellectual curiosity that sir is talking about is extremely important, right? So whether you like reading news or that is no longer a question now. It's non-negotiable, right? You have to read, you have to watch the news, and you guys have apps, right? So use your apps and get updated, like, know what is happening around the world. I think
even now on my phone, I have downloaded the Times of India. I've downloaded Hindu. I've downloaded Deccan Herald. I have some 5-6 newspapers downloaded on my app. On my phone.
Right.
So in between, I just keep track of what is happening.
Yeah.
So I also enjoy it because again, I come from one zamana when reading was the only entertainment, right? So that habit continues. But these guys have a lot more distraction. But reading is something which is non-negotiable.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. And I think one more thing I want to highlight, just emphasize on that. Sir mentioned that in passing. Like this staying up one night before the interview and mugging up current affairs is really going to prove disastrous for you. This is not counterproductive. Yeah, absolutely avoid that, please. I've seen also candidates, students who've done that. You'll end up going in a very sort of,
disheveled,
Correct. And that shows, right? Sleep deprivation, all that. Don't do that. This is not like your 10th, 12th exam where you can do these things. So stay away from that. Awesome. Great, sir. Thank you so much. As always,
thank you so much.
I think now it sounds like a cliche when I tell you this, but as always, it was a fantastic session. I
also enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for taking out so much time and sharing this. Folks, again, quick reminder to you. So Welingkar applications will close on 15 Jan. The PJDM applications, please, you can use the link that has been shared on chat and also get an idea of the different programs that they have. Thank you to Gauri and Tushar as well, who joined us and shared their student experiences. I think that was
Shiv Kumar too is there.
Shiv is also there. Actually, Shiv. Shiv, if you're still around, if you want to, I don't know if I'm not sure. Shiv is there. Sorry, Shiv. I don't know. Okay. I think
Jatin is still in the campus. Okay, he's still in the campus.
Oh, he's still okay. All right. Shiv, sorry about that. I totally
That's fine. No problem. You have mentioned about the applications part, everything.
Correct.
The only part which I'd like to mention, in case if somebody has missed to write any of the entrance exam, is still they have an option to write ATMA, which is happening in the month of February. We accept CATs at ATMA, CMAT, and GMAT. If somebody has missed it, they can still write ATMA and then apply to Welingkar Institute.
Awesome. By the way, folks, Shiv is the marketing and admissions manager at Welingkar. Okay, so I should have introduced him in the beginning, but that's a good tip. ATMA is in February, you said, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Feb.
Okay. So, folks, that's an option. If you've missed the bus, if you haven't scored well in these exams, ATMA is the one option that you can look at. All right, great. Anything else, Shiv, from your end?
No, that's all. See, I just wanted to say, the last date for the applications. And then another thing is, we have one common application for both Mumbai and Bangalore campuses.
Correct.
Students can choose 5 from Mumbai campus and all the 4 programs of Bangalore campus. It's simple. 2 campuses, one common application and one common selection process.
The interview is also common, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So when we interview them, it is not for any particular campus. It is for Welingkar. Okay.
Correct. And then after that, they are assessed.
Yeah, exactly.
Great. Thank you so much, Shiv. Thank you, sir, once again. Great session.
Thank you so much.
And folks, thank you for joining in.
Yeah, wish all the best to everybody. I'm sure you'll all do well.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. All the best, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gauri. Thanks, Tushar. And folks on YouTube, this session will be uploaded on our channel immediately. So if you have any more questions, put them in comments. Our team is pretty good about getting back on comments. So put your comments and then we'll get back to you. All right.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Good night and bye-bye. I'll sign off now.
Thank you. Bye.